Imagine the ocean's surface, calm and deceptive, suddenly shattered by a colossal shadow rising from the abyss, a beast of nightmares, jaws wide enough to swallow a school bus whole, eyes cold as the void, returning from the depths of time to reclaim its throne and plunge humanity into chaos. This is no fiction, but the chilling reality of what could happen if the megalodon, the ancient terror of the seas, resurfaced today, a monster whose mere presence could unravel our modern world, from collapsing global fisheries to turning coastlines into graveyards, forcing us to confront the fragility of our dominance on a planet that once trembled under its rule. Picture this. It's a sunny afternoon off the coast of California. Surfers riding the waves, fishermen casting lines, tourists snapping photos from cruise ships, when without warning, the water erupts in a frenzy of foam and blood, a massive fin slicing through the surface like a scythe, and in that instant, the megalodon announces its return, not as a single relic, but as a harbinger of an unstoppable force, its 60-foot body propelling forward with the power of a freight train, teeth like serrated daggers gleaming in the sunlight, devouring whales and boats alike, sending shockwaves through human society as news spreads like wildfire, beaches closed, shipping lanes paralyzed, economies teetering on the brink, as the ancient beast reminds us that we are not the apex predators we pretend to be. To understand this doomsday scenario, we must journey back millions of years, to a time when the Earth was a vastly different place, oceans teeming with life forms that dwarf our wildest imaginations, and at the top of that primordial food chain swam the Otodus megalodon, a name derived from Greek meaning big tooth, a fitting moniker for a creature whose fossils have haunted paleontologists and ignited the human imagination for centuries. Our story begins in the early 19th century, when the first megalodon teeth were unearthed, not in some remote dig site, but in the hands of curious collectors and scientists puzzling over these enormous, triangular relics washed up on beaches or dredged from riverbeds. In 1843, Swiss naturalist Louis Agassiz formally described these teeth, attributing them to a gigantic shark far larger than any known today, sparking a wave of fascination and fear that has persisted to this day, as these teeth, some measuring over 7 inches long, larger than a human hand, hinted at a beast that could have been the stuff of sailors' tall tales, like the Leviathan of ancient myths. But these were no myths. Megalodon was real, evolving from smaller ancestors in the shark lineage around 23 million years ago during the early Miocene epoch, a period when the Earth's continents were still shifting, the Himalayas rising, and the oceans were warmer, more expansive havens for marine life. Imagine the ancient seas, vast and untamed, where early whales like the Basilosaurus glided through turquoise waters, only to be ambushed by this emerging giant. Its body streamlined for speed, reaching lengths of up to 60 feet, 3 times the size of the great white shark, and weights exceeding 50 tons, making it heavier than a battle tank. Its skeleton, composed mostly of cartilage like modern sharks, rarely fossilized fully, but the vertebrae and teeth that did survive paint a picture of raw power. With a bite force estimated at 40,000 pounds per square inch, capable of crushing a car's frame as easily as we bite into an apple. As we delve deeper, let's transport ourselves to the fossil-rich sites where megalodon secrets have been unearthed, like the Bone Valley in Florida, a phosphate mining area where workers in the late 1800s stumbled upon treasure troves of prehistoric remains, teeth scattered like forgotten jewels amid the sediment, each one a testament to the shark's dominance. Paleontologists like Dr. Gordon Hubble, who amassed one of the world's largest collections of megalodon teeth, describe the thrill of holding these artifacts, feeling the serrated edges that once tore through flesh, evoking a visceral connection to a lost world where survival was a brutal ballet of predator and prey. Emotionally, it's hard not to feel a mix of awe and dread at nature's engineering marvel, a creature perfectly adapted with ampullae of Lorenzini sensors detecting the faintest electrical impulses from a heartbeat miles away, and dread at the thought of such a hunter loose in our waters today, where it could sense the thrum of a submarine or the panic of a swimmer from afar. Historically, megalodons' reign spanned from the Miocene through the Pliocene, about 23 to 3.6 million years ago, a time of climatic flux, As the planet cooled, ice caps formed, and sea levels fluctuated, creating nurseries in shallow coastal waters where young megalodons could grow safely before venturing into the open ocean. Evidence from sites like the Calvert Cliffs in Maryland shows these nurseries, with smaller teeth, indicating pups measuring 10 to 20 feet at birth, already larger than most adult sharks today, nurtured in warm, protected bays teeming with fish and marine mammals. Cinematically, envision the camera diving into these ancient nurseries, sunlight filtering through the waves, schools of fish darting in synchronized panic as a juvenile megalodon lunges, its movements fluid yet ferocious, a preview of the adult's terror. These young would mature over decades, perhaps living up to 100 years, migrating across oceans in pursuit of prey, their transoceanic journeys inferred from teeth found on every continent except Antarctica, suggesting a global distribution that made Megalodon a true world conqueror. But what fueled this giant? Its diet was as epic as its size, primarily large whales like the sperm whale ancestors, whose fossilized bones bear the telltale gouges of Megalodon, attacks, deep scars on vertebrae, and flippers, silent witnesses to underwater battles where the shark would ram its prey at speeds up to 11 miles per hour, stunning it before delivering fatal bites to the fins or belly, a strategy honed by evolution to disable and devour. Emotionally charged accounts from scientists like Dr. Catalina Pimiento, who studies megalodon ecology, reveal how this predator shaped entire ecosystems, keeping whale populations in check and influencing the evolution of marine mammals to grow larger or develop defensive behaviors. Without Megalodon, whales ballooned in size during the Pliocene, unhindered by such a formidable foe. Dramatically, picture a pod of ancient whales migrating through the Panama Isthmus before it closed, only to be shadowed by a lurking Megalodon, its massive form eclipsing the light, the water turning red as it strikes, a scene of raw survival that underscores the beast's role as nature's enforcer. Yet, even empires fall, and Megalodon's extinction around 3.6 million years ago remains one of paleontology's great mysteries, pieced together from geological clues and fossil records. As the Earth entered the Pleistocene Ice Age, global cooling caused sea levels to drop, shrinking the shallow coastal nurseries essential for Megalodon pups, while the migration patterns of its prey shifted to colder waters, where the shark, being partially warm-blooded, able to maintain body temperatures 13 to 20 degrees Fahrenheit above ambient water, as recent studies on tooth isotopes suggest struggled to adapt, its high metabolic demands requiring vast amounts of food that became scarce. Competition arose from smaller, more agile predators like the great white shark, which could thrive in the changing oceans, outmaneuvering the giant in the hunt for dwindling resources. Volcanic activity and cosmic events, like supernovas bombarding Earth with radiation around that time, may have played roles, disrupting marine food chains and accelerating the decline. Heart-wrenching in its irony, this warm-blooded advantage that made Megalodon a swift, relentless hunter also sealed its fate, as the energy costs soared when prey vanished, leading to starvation and population collapse. Fossils from the Gatun Formation in Panama show a sudden drop in Megalodon remains post 4 million years ago, marking the end of an era where the oceans bowed to this titan. But what if it didn't end? What if, through some twist of fate, perhaps de-extinction via genetic engineering, as biotech firms like Colossal Biosciences toy with reviving ancient species, or hidden survivors in the unexplored Mariana Trench, the Megalodon returned today? The implications are apocalyptic, starting with immediate chaos. A single adult could decimate whale populations, already endangered, triggering a cascade through the food web where krill and plankton explode unchecked, altering ocean chemistry and contributing to toxic algal blooms that poison coastal waters. Cinematically, see the panic unfold. A fishing vessel off South Africa vanishes without a trace, only for divers to find wreckage entangled in massive teeth marks. News helicopters capturing footage of a dorsal fin dwarfing great whites, governments scrambling to deploy naval forces armed with sonar and harpoons. But the beast evades, its intelligence evidenced by modern sharks' learning abilities, allowing it to adapt to human threats. Emotionally, families along beaches from Australia to Florida would live in terror, children forbidden from the waves, economies crumbling as tourism halts, shipping companies rerouting vessels at enormous costs, fuel prices skyrocketing amid disrupted trade routes. The global fishing industry, worth over $400 billion annually, would collapse as megalodons prey on tuna, swordfish, and even factory ships, leading to food shortages and riots in seafood-dependent nations like Japan and Peru. Historically parallel to how ancient extinctions reshaped life, a returning megalodon could force humanity to re-evaluate our ocean exploitation, perhaps sparking international treaties to protect marine zones. But at what cost? Naval battles with the beast resulting in lost lives, submarines crushed like tin cans under its bite force, environmentalists clashing with hunters in a moral dilemma over killing a resurrected wonder. Deeper still, the psychological impact. Humanity's hubris shattered, as this ancient beast embodies our fears of the unknown, reminding us of past mass extinctions like the one that felled the dinosaurs 66 million years ago, where a single event wiped out 75% of life. If Megalodon returned in numbers, say through cloning gone awry or thawing permafrost releasing preserved DNA, packs could roam the seas, turning the Pacific into a no-man's land. Aircraft carriers deployed in vain as the sharks ram hulls, sinking billions in military hardware. Scientifically, experts like Dr. Jack Cooper, who modeled Megalodon's swimming speeds at 3.1 miles per hour cruising but bursts up to 11 miles per hour, warned that its sensory prowess would make it nearly undetectable until too late, preying on container ships' vibrations, causing global supply chain breakdowns, medicine shortages, electronics delays, famine in import-reliant countries. Dramatically, envision a world leader addressing the UN, sweat beading on their brow, as satellite imagery shows shadowy forms converging on major ports, the beast's return igniting conspiracy theories of government experiments or alien interventions, society fracturing under the strain. But amid the horror, there's a poignant lesson. Megalodon's story mirrors our own vulnerabilities to climate change, the very force that doomed it, now threatening us with rising seas and extreme weather. If it returned, it could accelerate ecological tipping points, devouring carbon-sinking whales and releasing more methane from disturbed seabeds, hastening global warming in a vicious cycle. Emotionally, survivors of attacks, perhaps a lone fisherman recounting the moment the water boiled around his boat, the beast's eye locking onto his, before vanishing, would carry scars that redefine human resilience, inspiring art, literature, and a newfound respect for the natural world. Yet, in this hypothetical nightmare, humanity might rally, innovating non-lethal deterrents like acoustic barriers or genetic modifications to pacify the giant, turning the crisis into a catalyst for unity against greater threats like biodiversity loss. As the sun sets on a besieged coastline, the megalodon's silhouette against the horizon serves as a stark reminder. We share this planet with echoes of the past, and ignoring them could spell our end. For if this ancient beast returned today, it wouldn't just hunt, it would expose the thin veneer of our civilization, forcing us to evolve or perish in the shadow of a monster that time forgot, but nature never truly erased. And so, as we reflect on this tale of power, extinction, and potential resurrection, let it stir not just fear, but a profound appreciation for the delicate balance that sustains life, urging us to protect our oceans before the beasts of yesterday become the harbingers of tomorrow's apocalypse.